All right.
Here to support Barry Michael on his book launch. As an Aussie boxer yourself who came up in the lighter weight divisions like Baz, what do you mean for you and other people around you?
I mean, this is an amazing opportunity for me to be here today celebrating Barry's book launch. You know, Barry was somebody who was very instrumental in my career. He supported me, he commentated a lot of my fights, and to know that Barry was a super featherweight world champion and I won a super featherweight world title also with the IBO, but to also be the IBF featherweight world champion and be mentioned alongside some of these great champions was just an honour for me.
Definitely, and boxing, as scary as you step in the ring, you faced one of the scariest things ever in life, and that's cancer. You mentioned that you had, doctor said you had 6 months to live, and you were very reluctant to do the chemo. Can you tell us a bit about that?
Yeah, look, I was very reluctant to do the chemotherapy because back in 2015 I was married to a young girl by the name of Sarah who actually died from chemotherapy. So it was very daunting for me to go through that myself, but obviously when the doctor told me how serious things were, all I could think about was my son. You know, my son being 2 years and 10 months, 2 years and 10 days older at that time, 2 years and 10 months older at that time. You know, I didn't want to leave him behind, you know what I mean? That was my wife factor, so him and my wife, Barry, were the driving force behind me fighting cancer and beating it, thank God.
One of the things I noticed during that battle, you were very active on social media and you were very positive about it. Now, a lot of people get news like that and they fall apart, whereas you kind of did the opposite. What do you say to people out there that get a similar diagnosis that you got?
Well, I definitely think that positivity is king, you know what I mean? When you're positive, that's when you get the result, and so I made a decision that I was going to fight this cancer and I was going to do it with all my might and all my will, and I thought that the most important thing to have was a positive mindset. You know, if the mind's not positive, you can't win. You know, to beat cancer, you got to have a positive mindset, and for me, that's exactly what I did. I just tried to stay in a positive light, around positive people, and just work extremely hard to overcome this illness.
Yeah, how much did boxing help you with that? Did you have to have a similar mentality in boxing as well?
Boxing definitely helped me, because I related cancer to a boxing fight. I always looked at the fight against cancer as a battle against any other opponent. I often call cancer the opponent that you can't see. You know what I mean? So even though I couldn't see the opponent, I was in a battle of my life, and I was gonna lay down without trying.
Well, and then not only that, you went on to have another fight after that and be victorious, and you left boxing on your own terms. How much did that mean to you?
Yeah, it meant a lot. You know, I mean, obviously, I wanted to leave boxing on my own terms because boxing does one of two things: it either retires you or you retire from the sport of boxing. And for me, I didn't want cancer to be my final fight. I wanted my final fight to be against an opponent, and even though the opponent wasn't anyone of note, Tilakaya Basi, who pretty much had a half and half record, but the fact that I overcome cancer and stepped back in the ring was a victory in itself.
Growing up, one of my favourite fighters growing up was Naseem, and he had a big impact on your career. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, Naseem Hamed was my childhood hero. You know, somebody that I looked up to, and somebody that I definitely wanted to follow in the footsteps of. And I was lucky enough to say that I met him in 2014, and today he and I share a very close friendship and brotherhood, and he remains to be one of the closest people in my life.
Did he actually help you make a decision to turn pro?
Yeah, so Naz, I actually spent some time with Naz when I was about 18 years of age or 17 years of age, and he advised me that it would be best for me to turn pro, and that's exactly what I did.
And it was a good decision in the end?
No, it was a great decision.
What's he like in person? Because obviously very charismatic, outspoken.
Yeah, Naz is somebody that's got a lot of flair, a lot of character. He's somebody that can lift your spirits, and during the course of my cancer battle, he was somebody that was there, in the background, always inspiring me to overcome it and giving me positivity. And that's the one thing about Naz, is that he always sheds positivity, and I love that about him.
The scene to Aussie boxing, got Tim Tszyu having his rematch with Sebastian Fundora. We know what happened in the first fight. Basically, he had a hole in his head.
Yeah.
And so you've got the demons from that fight. But then not only that, you had the Murtazali of demons that, in the fight after that.
Yeah.
So, first of all, how do you see that fight going with all that in mind?
Look, I truly believe that, I'd love to see Tim win. Whether he wins or not, I don't know. To be honest with you, coming off a really bad loss to Sebastian Fundora, then losing to Bakram Murtazali, the way that he did was devastating. His fight against Joey Spence was a good comeback fight. It was the right opponent, but I don't think Joey Spence is Sebastian Fundora. You know what I mean? It's Fundora's somebody who's now world champion and somebody who's on a complete high. And it's really, really hard to knock somebody off their high horse when they're up that high. And so it's going to be a great effort from Tim to do it. So I really hope that Tim can pull the win off. Australian boxing needs somebody like Tim Tszyu, and Tim's doing great things for Australian boxing, and I really commend him and applaud him on being such a warrior. But whether he wins or not, I don't know. I hope that he does, but I don't know.
What would you say to him as someone who's been a veteran in the sport? What advice would you give Tim mentally going into this?
I would definitely tell Tim to make it a game of checkers. You know what I mean? Sorry, a game of chess. Just play your cards right. You know what I mean? Don't overexert yourself. Don't look for the knockout early, and just try to walk Sebastian Fundora onto the shots as he was doing in the first fight. He pretty much needs to go back to round one, of the fight starting, and just be really clever and smart and walk Sebastian onto the shots. That's what I'd be telling Tim if I was his trainer. And I know that Igor's doing a fantastic job with him, and I know that they're going to put in a great performance, and I just hope it's enough to pull out the victory.
Well, yeah. Thanks so much for your time, man.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate you coming down to Melbourne.
Thank you very much. Take care.